in Stockholm, and together with our co-organizer of this webinar, Business Sweden, we would like to welcome you to Market Entry Series Sweden. Now, you may ask yourself, why Sweden? I would say, first of all, because Sweden is a top innovative country since many years, and many years in a row. And it is also the home base of a number of top smart cities of the world, together with very mature tech companies who have their base here in Sweden. It is basically the place of global game changers. Now, this webinar was created for Chilean startups. And the purpose is to present to you the benefits and the opportunities available on the Swedish market, and to motivate you to expand to Sweden, because basically this is the place to be in the tech industry, and this is the tech future which is happening here in Sweden. We have invited therefore 3 top speakers. I may introduce you to Marie-Claire Maxwell. She's the manager of the Digital Technologies program in Business Sweden. Our next speaker will be Fredrik Larsson. He's the Digital Strategy and Communication Manager at the Linköping Science Park. And with you will also be Donny Lingonis, and he's the Innovation Strategy and Business Coach at the Royal Technology Institute of Sweden. We also invite you to leave your queries through the chat here. And I will also give you my email address in case you have some other questions afterwards. And then I will redirect them to the speaker who is most suitable to answer you. Therefore, Marie-Claire, you are our first speaker, and please tell us more. We are very curious to find out about the Swedish ecosystem.
Hello, everyone, and Katalin, you already did the sales pitch for Sweden, so thank you for doing that, and I'm looking forward to guide you and take you a little bit more into detail about Sweden, even where the country is situated, and what the secret sauce is behind why we are so innovative, if that now is the case, and then also leave you with a little bit more information that is tailored for you startup scale-ups, and you know, so that you can find friends in our ecosystem. So truly looking forward to be able to build this bridge. So thank you very much, ProChile and Nicholas and the team on site for having me, and I think this is just a beginning in the deeper connections between our tech and startup and innovation ecosystems. So let me share my screen, and I will take you through it. Is it all clear to you? Good. All right. So very, very welcome to Innovative Sweden. In fact, we celebrated our Swedish Flag Day yesterday, and I think the blue and yellow colors to everyone these days are a very important reminder of how important it is to have an open mindset, and that we would really like to invite you all to co-create together with us. It's super important that we keep our ecosystems open, and that we help the large companies who have been around for a long time to stay around for the future, and also in terms of democracy and the opportunities for people to freely communicate and so be with us. So we just want to have more interactions with all of you. So truly, truly welcome to Sweden. And this is very much an invitation to all of you to help us co-create our joint future. So my name is Mary Claire, and I work for Business Sweden. Business Sweden is the Swedish Trade and Investment Promotion Agency. Basically, our government mission is to help Swedish companies grow global sales and international companies invest and expand in Sweden. So we are really here for you to guide you and help you find the customers, clients, and friends in Sweden. And we hope that you are also keen to help some Swedish companies to explore the market opportunities in Chile. In fact, we are quite small office in Sweden, around 75 people. So our core strength is our overseas offices. And we do a lot of market expansion, sales acceleration, business to government, and business incubation and operation services for the Swedish companies. And then we have a couple of industrial sort of expertise sectors: smart industry, transportation, energy, new materials, big tech, life science, and creative food and industries. And here we have specific programs, activities that we can, sort of co-develop together with you. So just putting this picture for you out there so that you have an idea of roughly how many we are and what we do, and that you can reach us also around the world. So should you be in San Francisco or at Web Summit, we're probably also there. So you can meet Sweden in various places. Now, Sweden and the Nordic region is in the Nordic part of Europe. Just putting the map up there for you, since we're kind of far away, but we do have a lot of connections. So in the Nordic region, Sweden is the largest country. However, I think the Nordic region is rather small in terms of numbers. So only about 10 million people live in Sweden. And maybe that is also one of the ingredients in the secret sauce why we have built so many global brands. But if I, in my previous roles here at Business Sweden, have been sort of kicking out startups around the world and mainly to Asia and maybe Silicon Valley, I think what we see now as a sort of a game changer is that Sweden and the Nordic region is ready to invite startups from all over the world to grow global. And this is because our ecosystem is good at funding impact startups. Our large companies, be it the H&Ms or the Volvo cars, are also looking for impactful ideas. But also our unicorn founders are super keen to work with you guys. So once again, it's a very small region, but we do make a dent, and I will get into some numbers when it comes to how many startups and unicorns we in fact have here in Sweden. But for you who have never been here, just some images to leave you and perhaps inspire you. It is a very large country with few people. We do have snow in the north, and we have 4 seasons. And nature is very, very key to us. So this is one ingredient where we also have been able to build broadband to even the most remote places. And we also sometimes say that the darkness that we have during the winter time in the north is perhaps why we are so creative and why we've been sitting in front of the computers and developing games to have some fun. So just giving you a picture of what it looks like here. It's not only beautiful, but it can be dark too. It's a democratic nation. We've had peace for over 200 years, and we are doing our most to keep what we can, and having we've had a very neutral perspective on this, and that's what we are committed to do in the future as well. Equality is very important, no matter where you are from, or be it gender or any form of equality. So that's also cornerstones in the Swedish society. nature is for everyone. Coming back to this, because it is very important for us that you have the opportunity to get out there, but we also have by law the fact that everyone has the right to pick berries or be out and about in the forest. So this is also very important for us. The welfare system is largely tax funded. The cafe latte dads are out and about with children. So both male and females take a very active role in the parental leave, for example. So this is also one factor that is helping startup and tech founders to perhaps take risk that the welfare society can support people in new businesses and know that there is great schools or preschools and they're also for free. Sometimes when you talk about Sweden, you always get the question about Ericsson and IKEA. On this picture, we have Avicii. And these days, we even have to bring back and talk about ABBA. Maybe some of you have seen them now in Metaverse. So in a way, we hope that we could talk about some other guys, but it seems like even the old guys, like the Abbas and Ericsson, are really good at staying innovative. And I think that is also coming back to you guys, that we need help and we are really keen to stay creative and stay innovative with collaborations and invitations to tech and startups. So the way we see it is that nowadays, Greta is perhaps one of our most famous persons around the world. So innovation has never been more crucial, and we need to do this together. Sweden has been a top innovation for innovation, and we are scoring many of these famous indexes, be it the Innovation Scoreboard or the Global Innovation Index or SDG for the sustainability goals these days. We have a world-class startup scene, as I mentioned before, so we can brag about these numbers, in terms of unicorns produced per capita, right after Silicon Valley. This might not be a known fact, and perhaps the Swedish lagom, the so-so culture has stopped us from bragging about this. So maybe we should be a little bit more proud and say that it seems to be that we are doing something right in our society. Spark Labs, another benchmark in terms of venture, and also the Digital City Index. But the thing is that about 100 years ago, Sweden was, very dependent on the forest, and not long ago that we were the #1 immigrants to America. So whereas today we have changed, if our forest industry produced paper and pulp, nowadays it's haute couture and fashion. So exploring smart textiles and how can we recycle and think of new creative way of using our natural resources. So it's only in a matter of 100 years that we have gone from a very, very poor nation to a super high-tech innovative society. So we've done this over a quite recent time and era. And people often wonder, what is the secret sauce? And if I meet mothers, I have 3 boys at home. If I meet mothers in Asia, they ask me, what on earth are you giving your kids for breakfast? What is it that makes Swedish people so innovative? I was like, well, surely it can't be the oatmeal porridge, but maybe it's the fact that they are out and about in the forest, or that they don't have 100% schedule time, that they also are bored, or that they have computers, or that it's dark. Who knows? But some factors that I think are very important and that also opens up for collaboration. is the fact that we have the highest female employment rate in Europe. So it's a very equal society. The welfare system I touched upon earlier, that it creates a safety net. And we have extensive vacation and parental leave. Personally, I'll take 4 to 5 weeks off now during the summertime to spend with my kids, and we'll go to a remote island where there's no Wi-Fi. So we'll see how that goes. But these things are very important, and perhaps it helps our brains to rewire and be creative and be happy. So this word, creativity and power, how to power that is very important for us. So we believe in that. And I guess the management style is focusing a lot on critical thinking and, you know, dare to ask and raise your voice. Our organizations are quite hierarchical, and we have this co-creation view, and we meet over coffee or fika, as we say here, where we have people from many different parts in organizations or society to solve something or discuss. So that helps us perhaps to move the agenda forward. Because we usually are quite open, and then we can put everything on the table and then make the decisions through consensus. So these things are good to bear in mind, that it's when you walk in and have a pitch, you'll probably have decision makers from the C-level to engineering to funding at the table when you're here in Sweden. And people on the floor could be the next CEOs, you never know. We are very tech savvy. We have a world-class infrastructure, as I mentioned, the connectivity, and so it's, although it's a long country and very few people, we are connected and can work digitally. And I think especially during the COVID time, this has helped us a lot. Openness and progressiveness are keywords that we live by. And we're a very innovation and tech-friendly society. And this is from the government to our science parks, to our programs that we try to foster and run. We put a lot of investment in R&D. If you compare to other nations, you can see that this seems to be correlate with some of the most innovative nations in the world, South Korea, Israel, and Sweden as well. So despite being so small, we put a lot of money in this. And you can also see that the business sector is also highly involved in this. Academic excellence, I'm sure you've heard of Nobel, and hopefully we can bring the party back to Sweden this December. We do have some top universities, and I'm sure we will hear more about KTH later during this talk, and also what's going on in Linköping. And so you see, although we are a very small part of the population, we have some amazing universities, and the Chalmers Ventures was just voted the best venture partner here in the Nordic region during the Nordic Startup Awards. So the universities play a crucial role, of course, in fostering the startup ecosystem. But our business sector is also very involved in this. I'm sure you see some brands here that you had no idea were Swedish. Be it maybe IKEA, you know, but Candy Crush and Skype and iSettle or Mojang, the guys behind Minecraft. So it's across the sectors, and these guys are. Some of them have taken open innovation calls that you can join already today. So do let us know if there are some specific companies that you'd like to get in touch with, and we can see if there are calls. I think Linköping will also present some of the activities they have that are open for international startups and scale-ups to join as well. But it's not only the business sector, it's also the public sector. So they are very much involved in driving this forward as well. So for you guys who have tech and startups that are more towards GovTech, there's an opportunity to perhaps pitch to Sweden and that this will be relevant for the European Union as well. We talk a lot about the, the triple helix or even the quadruple helix in Sweden. So how the industry, academia, government, and civil society are working together. So these things are elements that you'll see a lot about when you come here, and you'll see how companies and academia and the government are working closely together as Team Sweden to foster innovation and to support the startup ecosystem. Moving into the future, I'd just like to share some numbers and I will send a link to you later to the Sweden Tech Ecosystem database, where you can find out a lot more and find your friends and investors, and also even some of the companies that are looking for talent. But just to share with you that we have at least 35 unicorns. I think as of last week, we might have 2 more. But it's up from just 9 in 2019. So you can see that it has happened, it's a majority is after 2020. Sweden is now home to one of Europe's most valuable private startups, Klarna, in the fintech space. And we do have quite many in this area. But we also have a rather strong pipeline of future unicorns. Here you can see in comparison to some other countries with much larger population and density than us. So you can see that Sweden is, and Stockholm, our capital, is pretty high up there. Although there are some verticals that are stronger than others, mobility, fintech, and health, you can see that there are other areas as well. So I think I'll share the presentation with you, and here you can really find, you can benchmark yourself and also see, I guess, possible ones for you to partner up with or work with. And here are some that we believe will be future unicorns. We talk a lot about the snowball effect in Sweden. So like Spotify, Klarna have already, given birth to a lot of new startups. So we're already starting to see that people who have discovered or seen, I guess, loopholes or other opportunities when working for these companies. So I guess that ecosystem of not only the big companies, but also all of them around them are super interesting for you guys. So beyond the unicorns, there are quite an interesting funnel of pre-seed and Series A startups. So once again, I think this is interesting factors for you guys. One big factor that we have realized, I would say only during, we saw the trends last year, is that the impact investment is truly boosting here in Sweden. So it's mainly, I would say, a startup today that doesn't solve one of the UN SDGs would have a challenge to find business or find investors. So this is an important takeaway for all of you that know what kind of impact you're making. On the other hand, we also believe that most of our large companies, be it the H&Ms or in the steel industry, are also the ones that will give you business. So if it's hard for you to find clients at home that are looking for sustainability solutions, maybe it's more likely that the Swedish industry have come a little bit further and that they are keen to collaborate with you. So you could both find business and investment and also the tech founders who have managed to find, I guess, a balance, being both an impact startup and how to build a unicorn at the same time. So on a global level, you can see that impact investment is rather big here in the Nordics. Some other BC areas, I think I'll send the link, as I said earlier, to the deal room database. And here you can also see which ones that have invested in these companies to kind of guide you where and who you'd like to pitch your company to. And this will be a sort of segue over to Linköping as well. So Sweden is a very long country, but we do have science parks and universities across, and they have different focus areas as well. So there's a deep ocean for you here to find out which ones to collaborate, and we'd love to guide you and connect you. So going further, here's an executive summary. I won't read it to you, but even some more facts and figures around the mega rounds and the impact sector and the key numbers in the Sweden tech ecosystem for you. Thank you. That was kind of a quick crash course. I'll send the presentation so that you can have a look at the facts and figures at home.
Thank you very much, Marie-Claire. A very, very interesting presentation with lots of facts and true numbers. In the first part, you pretty much described my life in Sweden. I spend most of the weekends in the nature. I enjoy the gender diversity, and I'm even going to the new ABBA concert. So thank you very much for mentioning that.
That's more than I have. Maybe you'll be the cafe latte dad as well soon.
A couple of weeks ago, I met a friend in an innovation event, one of the many innovation events we have here. And he said something that I will remember for a while. He said, if you are interested in the Swedish innovation system, you should go out of Stockholm. Not that Stockholm has little to offer. No, Stockholm has a lot to offer, but so do the other cities of Sweden. Our next speaker, Fredrik Larsson, he's a digital strategist and communication manager at the Linköping Science Park. Linköping is one of the most beautiful cities I've seen in Sweden. Is only about 2 hours southwest of Stockholm, and it is a great combination of very new technology and also preservation of very old culture and traditions. Fredrik, please talk to us about the offer of Linköping Science Park and what's your program for foreign startups, and maybe how can you help them getting noticed by large tech companies?
Well, thank you very much for that introduction. Just let me share my screen here, and I will start talking about this. Sorry, I forgot one thing. So I'm going to start with short movie, and then I am going to present a little bit more about the offers from Linköping.
What if there was this special place where you could bring your ideas to see just how far you could take them? A place where it comes natural to network, collaborate, and ask your neighbors for input. Where your ideas are allowed to grow and expand. And what if this place was packed with thousands of people just like you, eager to share, eager to learn? A place where people reach out across all borders to move things forward faster. What kind of businesses would grow in this environment? Yours? Wouldn't it be cool if one of Europe's highest ranking universities was sort of integrated in the whole thing? And if there was a showcase residential district just around the corner? What kind of innovations would be brought to life in such a place? What kind of progress could we expect? Now what if you came here? Wouldn't that be brilliant?
So that's Linköping Science Park at a glance. We are around 600 companies here in the park with 14,000 people working in those companies. We're one of the biggest science parks in Sweden, together with science parks in Stockholm and Gothenburg and Lund in the south of Sweden. So one of the biggest and one of the oldest, and we are strong in particularly in these areas that you see on the screen now: visualization and image analysis, mobile communication, automotive safety and connected vehicles, EPTV and streaming media. We're a deep tech science park. Most companies are business-to-business companies. We don't have so many consumer brands here in Linköping, since most of our companies are developed from the research, the deep tech research at the Linköping University. We have a deep integration with the university. As Marie-Claire mentioned before, Sweden has a lot of really, really good universities, and Linköping is one of them. Linköping University is one of the top-ranked universities in the world, focusing on data science, mobile communications, visualization and image analysis, AI and cybersecurity. And we see that in a lot of companies in the science park. They often connect with research in a good way, and that's one of the reasons to be a part of the science park, that you connect to world-class research within these areas. And we have a quite broad portfolio of companies in the park. Of course, there's a lot of exciting startups pioneering in different areas within our different areas of technology, but there's also a lot of grown, mature companies, some of them well known, like Ericsson, Veoneer, MediaTek, and so on. And there's also a lot of companies that we call scale-ups, that are often world leading in a very niched area within their technology. And that means that you can be a part of this park no matter what phase your company is in. You can always rely on that you receive support and network that are relevant for your company, no matter what kind of needs you have, what kind of maturity grade your company has. Linköping Science Park is also an international hotspot. We have around 45 different nationalities working here in the science park last time we counted, and that is partly because of the university. It's a very international university, but it's also a result of that we have quite a few companies that are internationally owned. So of course that gains and attracts a lot of international people that wants to work here. So when you're moving around in the science park, you hear, of course, many different languages, and working with English as a working language is quite common here. The science park has also a couple of different cultural values, I would call it, that are important for us and that are a big part of why we are the kind of science park we are. There's a strong sense of community in the park. If you have a company here, if you work here, you have this feeling of that you're part of a bigger picture, not only the company that you work in. You're part of a community that are interested in tech questions, in development and in innovation and so on. And we as a science park, we facilitate a lot of different networks to gain this feeling and to create relevant communities for the people working in the park. It's also important for us to challenge the companies on their purpose. Sustainability is a question that more and more are on the companies' radars nowadays, and we're trying to focus on the global sustainability goals and trying to challenge the companies a lot with questions around how does your product or your service, how does it affect the development of the society as a whole. It's easy to think that when you're sitting with your computer and coding some sort of new solution or developing some new product, that you only have to think about how can I technically solve this thing, for example. But we're trying to challenge the companies to also think about how does this fit in a larger picture? How does this fit to what kind of society we want to build together? We have a long history of groundbreaking innovations from the science park, from the companies here in the science park. A lot of, of course, the areas of mobile communication, GSM, 3G, 4G, and 5G are being developed here in the park, not at least with the Ericsson company. We have a long history of streaming media and IPTV, the algorithm for streaming media that are used by Netflix and HBO and so on, is the result of research at the Linköping University, actually, and it has gained a couple of companies that have been bought by companies like Motorola and Google and so on in the history. Also, safety systems and connected cars is a long history for new innovations there. If you buy a new car today, like Volvo or a European car, it's quite likely that you have a software or hardware within that car that's been developed in the science park. So what we do in the science park and what we offer is we have a vision of enabling groundbreaking solutions for the modern society. As I already talked about, it's important for us to challenge the companies to see a bigger picture of what they are doing. And I think that one of the key words here is enabling. As a science park, we can create the opportunity for people and companies with ideas that wants to develop them in some way. Being part of the science park is being part of a community where your chances to succeed are bigger because you get a better network, you get better support from the government and so on. So that's what we're doing. We're enabling groundbreaking solutions for the modern society. And we're doing that mainly within this area. Visualization and image analysis, IoT, of course, artificial intelligence, agriculture, and innovative and new materials. These are the areas where we are strong in Sweden and in Europe, where our university is strong on its research, and where we have a long history of companies that succeeded within these areas. And here's a picture of from the science park from above. It's quite beautiful actually, and it's surrounded by green. It's very Swedish with fields, and you can realize that the agriculture focus is one of our focus areas is very present here as well. So what do we actually do? If you have an idea, if you want to develop an innovation, if you have researched on something for many years, or if you just think that this is something I want to try, or this is my company, I want to develop it in Sweden and the European market in some way, what to offer? Well, it depends on how mature your company are. We have services that suits companies from the very early beginning, where maybe 1 or 2 or 3 people just have a vague idea of what they want to do. They're in this incubation phase. We have one of Sweden's best incubators here in the science park. And we have several programs focusing on trying to realize what is the innovation, how can we use the technology, and how can that end up in a real product or a real service that we actually can sell to real customers. And you see some of them here, some of those programs here, Boot Up, Entrepreneurs in Residence, Ignite Sweden, for example. And those are facilitated by our incubator lead. When you're a little bit more mature, you're working in this scale-up phase, as we used to call it. You have a product or you have a service, you know who your customers are, and you actually do sell something, but you want to scale up, you want to grow bigger, maybe you want to go international or in some way grow bigger, then you meet other kinds of challenges as a company. Perhaps one very, very typical example is when you go from being just the founder of the companies, you are 2 or 3 people that you're all very, very tech savvy, and you focusing a lot on the solution that you sell. And then you need to hire your first sales manager, for example. And that means that you actually need to start to build different kind of companies that can take different kinds, bigger kinds of challenges. And then to support companies in that phase, we have several programs in the scale-up phase. Accelerator programs for scale-ups, different kinds of programs for companies searching for investments, sustainability assessments. How do your company works with the global sustainability goals, for example, and of course internationalization as well. And we facilitate this in a program called Swedish Scale-Ups. And then we have what we call transformation and innovation, different kind of programs open to companies, both mature companies and startups and scale-ups, focusing on the technology, the development of the technology, often where the government or different kinds of official agencies work together with university and research agencies and companies, creating new solutions and develop innovations together. And the Science Park have different kinds of programs to facilitate those kind of process within those technology areas that I mentioned before, like visualization and clean tech and agriculture and so on. I especially in this case wants to mention our program Index, which is a matchmaking process for startups and scale-ups that are interested in co-develop solutions with large industrial companies. We have 4 large industrial companies here in our region: Saab, aerospace company, Väderstad, an agriculture company, Siemens Energy, doing gas turbines for the energy market, and Toyota Material Handling, doing logistics solutions. Those 4 companies work together in our Index program, matching startups and scale-ups with new that can offer new technology, and have a program for co-developing innovations between the startups and those 4 companies. So that's something that we're especially interested in connecting with startups that might be interested in that program. So that's a short overview of what we do in the Linköping Science Park, and an example of from the Swedish innovation ecosystem. We have around 30 science parks as a whole in Sweden. Linköping is one of them. And we have a lot of cooperation between the science parks as well. So we're gladly to connect you within people in our developing project, but also, of course, within the different science parks and incubators here in Sweden. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions or wants to know anything more. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Fredrik. Now you made Linköping not only beautiful, but also very interesting. And I'm sure that many Chilean companies are going to reach out to you. Our next speaker is Donny Lyngonis. He's the innovation strategist and business coach at the Royal Institute for Technology. And he's also the founder of Entrepreneurs Without Borders, a concept developer and professional speaker at Constant Innovation Limited, and also founder of Startups. Keep calm and innovate, says Donny on his LinkedIn profile. He's going to talk to us about his experience as a coach for startups, and also, very interesting, how to overcome challenges which new companies are facing, new startups are facing in Sweden, and also very interesting recommendations on how to install and expand in Sweden. Donny, your next 15 minutes are yours.
Thank you. I think you need to put my video on. I can't share my screen here.
I can see the, it all starts here.
Okay, you can see that. Okay, cool. Because it said I couldn't share my video. Anyway, thank you so much for having me, everyone. Sorry if there's a bit of noisy background, but I had to step aside and actually sitting in a cafe now doing the presentation because I was stuck in traffic, but due to an accident. But anyway, we're online, everything is good. And thank you, Fredrik from Linköping, a very good university in an incredible hotspot of technology in Sweden. And I love the way that you ended by saying, oh yes, and that's all from Linköping. And you've like gone through the whole sort of tech development of Sweden the past 50 years. That was a wonderfully humble ending. And I'll start equally humble by saying, it's our very humble tagline here. It all starts here, which we use at the university and KTH Innovation where I work. I'll just run through some slides very, very briefly. Feel free to ask me any questions in the during the presentation. If there's anything else you want me to touch on, I will do that. As you mentioned me on LinkedIn, please follow me on LinkedIn. I post almost daily on innovation and entrepreneurship and leadership and startups. I also go live every Wednesday afternoon at 2:30 p.m. Swedish, which is like 5 or 6 hours ahead. No, more than how far ahead of Chile are we actually? We're
6 hours.
6 hours, yeah. Perfect morning show for you. Every Wednesday morning, you can have coffee and watch my innovation show on LinkedIn. So live every Wednesday. But just because I said that, I probably won't be live tomorrow because my niece is graduating from high school. So I'll probably be cheering her on tomorrow afternoon instead. Much to what Marie-Claire said, we spend a lot of time with our kids and our families. Anyway, very briefly then, KTH Innovation, where I work, it's the innovation department at the biggest tech university in Sweden, in Stockholm, not far from Linköping. And I work there as a business coach and innovation strategist. I also got to spend a year in Silicon Valley, in Palo Alto, starting up something called the Nordic Innovation House back in 2015, which is a Swedish Nordic initiative to help Nordic startups start in Silicon Valley. Now they have also 5 more places around the world. At KTH Innovation, where I work, we are a department at the university. We offer early stage support for anybody with a current KTH affiliation. So if you come here and do any kind of master's course or any kind of, actually, even if you work at KTH, you can come to us and get free support from the department. And we celebrated our 15th birthday just 8 weeks ago, and have worked with a number of ideas since then. We now are up. Last year we did 372 new ideas, and this year, we're trying to aim to break the 400 barrier of ideas and projects that we work with at the university. So that's our process there. 350 plus as ideas come into the process. That means that we've had about 1,000 emails and phone calls and meetings before that. And then 12-13% come out the other end into incubators and maybe science parks. So maybe some of them actually go to LEED or other places in Sweden, or in Sting, which is the big Stockholm incubator as well, which will be the 12-13% out of those 350 plus. And since we started, I think we've worked with about 3,700 ideas so far. On top of the normal process, we have a number of programs that we've built as well to direct and cluster different kinds of cases, the biggest one being a pre-incubator program. I won't go through too much of what we do at the university, but it's a very early stage innovation support for ideas. And one thing which you might find interesting is that if you do research in any way at the Swedish university, we actually have something called the professor's privilege, which means that you actually own the rights to your research yourself. It's a law from 1948, which states that the researchers own their own rights to their research. So if you do research in any kind at the Swedish university, you actually own your own results, which is a kind of a different way of looking at things. It also makes my job a bit different because it means that I'm strictly a business coach and I don't have to look after the university's interests in any way. I just help you as a business succeed. We do a lot of work with teams, and this is me reaching out to you as well. I know that both Marie-Claire and Fredrik spoke about you connecting. We always have a number of teams at the university that are looking for people. So if you have a startup which might be adjacent, or if you're looking for a place in a startup, please have a look at our homepage and check out the startups that are looking for people, because there's always startups hiring people all over the place. Same thing for our programs. The big one, the pre-incubation program, is always a number of teams, 40 teams per year, that always are looking for new people and possibilities. We finally got a house, our own house, in 2020, which was, the irony was that we got it 3 weeks before the pandemic. So we just got to move in before they threw us out. So we're just sort of kind of moving in now. Let's see. I'll take questions as we go. Do you have any direct contact in order to scale my company in Sweden? Sure, I can get back to that. No problem at all. One thing I want to share with you, all of the startups here, because I think we have a handful, 20, 30 startups online, right? What I suggest, here's an idea, because we've developed our own process to support early stage innovation support. It's loosely based on the NASA technology readiness level scale, but we built it into something to support early stage innovation. And it's something that we work a lot with. We have today 6 scales from 1 to 9. Customer, technology, IPR, team, funding, and business model. And they all help you move from very early stage to a later stage. 1 is, I have a new idea for a rocket, and 9, the rocket's on the way to the moon. That's the scale for you there. And in the different scales, then, like in customer readiness level, you have an idea of a possible need, you have identified specific needs, your first market feedback. And this, the purpose of it, it's a communication tool internally, so a very incredible tool for internal team alignment and also for external stakeholder communication. But it's also a guide to do the right thing at the right time. It helps you structure your moving forward. It helps you miss as little as possible, and it helps you focus on what you should be doing now. And the thing is, what we've done is we've released this free online for everybody to go out and download and use. We have over 700 users in universities, companies, organizations. The Science Park in Linköping, LEED, they use it as well. The Swedish Innovation Agency has just remodeled their full assessment program based on our model now. So everybody applying for money in Sweden going forward will also be using this as well. And we have a number of international incubators and universities using it. But also for startups, I would recommend it as you are building your startup and as you're going forward. Use the tool to balance your development going forward, because for me as a business coach, it's a really good coaching tool to help my teams go forward, because I work with since I do a lot of presentations and external work, I don't have so many teams that I coach. I only have maybe 30, 35 teams. My other colleagues have maybe 50 teams at a time that they coach. So this is a fantastic tool for us to use to coach you. But in the head of an entrepreneur, this is you here. I mean, we always have, you know, so much going on in our heads, and the way forward is always so which way to take. And I would just suggest that, you know, use it to balance your development, so miss as little possible. Road mapping, what needs to be done, when, by whom, plan, execute, follow up, break it down. It breaks down into sprints. If you work with Agile, it's a beautiful tool to work with Agile development. Perfect for external communication, team alignment, team development. You actually learn how to run a project, and you learn how to be part of a project. You can measure your progress very visually. It's what, not the how. Don't have to go into this, but it's planning, goal. I want to push this forward because it's free online. Use it for your development. And if you come to Sweden, of course, which you will be doing after this, then you'll be already working in a similar system that most of us already use. So I would suggest that you have a look at that. Also, if you add the timeline to it, I can just show you how we use it at KTH and how I use it as a coach. If you add the timeline to the different sectors there, I would suggest to add the time, because then you get roadmaps, dependencies. It shows so much more with the time. This is one of my cases, COSA. They plot out 1 year at a time ahead. Where do they think they will be in 1 year? And then as we do follow-ups every month, we can have a discussion on where they are. So use the tool, KTH Innovation Readiness Level, free online. I like a thank you diagram, and of course that turns into a budget. So it's a great way of building your project management going forward. It's not a project management software. It's not a Sana Basecamp, right? It is the content of the project management software. So, you know, you can use Trello, you can use Excel, you can use whatever you want. Anyway, that was that. We worked with, as I said, 3,700 ideas so far. A lot of them have become some really cool, really good startups so far. Some of them are growing really big now. Here are some of the ones that we've been working on. But just for some food for thought going forward here. And what's my end time, by the way, Katalin and Niklas, just checking. When do I have a hard stop to actually stop talking?
You can go like for, I don't know, 5 minutes more, something like that.
Okay, cool. Okay, well, I will probably keep talking, but I'll just mute myself so you won't hear me anymore. I never stop talking, by the way, so it's... But anyway, reach out to me. I'm super accessible, LinkedIn, email, whatever, and then we can continue the discussion. But I would just want to mention some really, really, really important points. It's all about value creation. It's not about what you want to sell. It's about what somebody else feels is important enough to buy. So it's always about value creation. Who are you creating value for, and how will they want to, and who are they? Well, the thing is, your customers, they're also the ones that define your value. You don't get to define that. It's the people, the users, the customer members, they define your value. And you have to move from this old model of idea-centric innovation, which was idea, invention, innovation. And, we had come to this point of, I invented a thing, I'm finished. This is the engineer thinking that he's finished. But of course, he's not finished until it's put into a context where it generates value for a user. And that's the key component. So if we turn that model around and we look at need-centric innovation, where we say, what's the need? What solution could we pick? And then which technology for today could we then use? Then we can shift technology as technology changes, and we can keep working with the same need. And this is a big shift in how you approach problems and needs. And then you go, well, okay, well, fine. Well, where do we find good needs? Where do I find something good? Well, we've already agreed upon 17 of them, and 169 sub needs there as well. So we do a lot of work on the sustainable development goals. I know Frederick mentioned that as well. Everything we do at the university is connected to what impact are you creating in the world? How will your idea help the world become a better place? Super important. If you're going to spend all of that time, blood, sweat, tears, weekends, evenings, and everything else, spend it on something important. And then, of course, what happens when you don't focus on the need of the customer? Well, we've all seen a number of fantastic ideas come to life that nobody really wanted. This sounded like the best thing ever back then in 2001 when they released the Segway, because it was, I think Steve Jobs was quoted saying, this is going to be bigger than the internet. Well, it didn't really become bigger than the internet, But tell you what about if we look at context? Because all needs and all tech has to be put into a context. What if we said there is a need for micro mobility? We have two wheels, a platform, a handle, and electric engine. And well, I'll tell you what, something actually works. So, you know, it's all about how you execute on something. It's all about understanding how is it going to fit into a context and how is it going to work for a specific user in which time it's going to work. And that is, you know, that's the key trick of innovation. And this is one last picture here for you, then, all you innovators out there. This is our biggest problem as innovators, is that we have a user, they have a now that's based on their past, they can see this far, that's their near future, that's their innovative capability, but that's what they can buy. You, however, you're the smart one. You can see the further vision of your tech development and the development going forward. That's your vision, you know, but you know, for your user, that's only science fiction, and they won't be able to buy that. So you need to back up to that sweet spot. That's where they can buy your innovative design or technology. If you don't match that spot, you will not sell anything. You'll be very visionary, but you won't sell anything. So, you know, try and find that sweet spot between, you know, how far can they see and where are you? How can you match that?
Excellent. Thank you so much, Donny. I don't know you, but I already trust you because you could go on with your presentation flawlessly despite the background noise.
Sorry about that.
You made it so interesting that it didn't even, you know, disrupted us. And I believe you, like the previous speakers as well, we could have a presentation just for each one of you. It was really, really interesting. I encourage everybody to contact Don. Exactly. Thank you very much for putting your email here, donny@kth.se. I saw that Frederick also left his contact details. This is very generous of you. Thank you very much. And thank you for being here. I will let Nicolas from Business Sweden in Santiago to make a closing to this very interesting seminar.
Yes. Thank you, Katalin. First of all, thank you, Marie-Claire, Donny, and Frederick for joining us this seminar. It was really, really interesting. I'm going to change to Spanish just to make the closing words. But basically, I'm going to invite the startups that are now watching us to write us, to contact ProChile and Business Sweden and try to find them the best way into Sweden. So, bueno, muchas gracias a todos los que nos están escuchando, a todas las startups. Espero les haya interesado, espero que hayamos generado ruido, esperamos que tengan a Suecia ahora en su radar, y para cualquier cosa ahí vi algunas preguntas que preguntaban sobre qué oportunidades existen. Por favor, ahí también les voy a dejar mi contacto y escríbanos con ProChile, a Business Sweden. Estamos trabajando justamente en ayudar a las startups a internacionalizarse hacia Suecia, así que cuenten con el apoyo del equipo de Business Sweden aquí en Santiago y el equipo de ProChile en Santiago y bueno, el equipo de Business Sweden y ProChile en Suecia también. Tenemos gente en los dos países trabajando para ustedes. Así que muchas gracias.